Welcome back to Newsmax and our special coverage of the 2016 New Hampshire primary. I'm Ed Berliner. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to hear from Ted Cruz in a moment. First of all, let's bring this up about Hillary Clinton. There was a news piece that came out earlier today from Politico that talked about the fact that Hillary Clinton, after her crushing defeat in New Hampshire, was going to rework her campaign with race at the center of it. She will campaign with African-American victims of law enforcement deaths. She will push a new focus on systematic racism, criminal justice reform, voting rights, and gun violence that will mitigate concerns about her lack of an inspirational message. That comes from Politico. Now, just a few moments ago on Twitter, Howard Fineman, the global editorial director of Huffington Post, tweeted this, and I quote, going right along with what we heard, quote, "A top Clinton aide just told me this is white people in New Hampshire. There's a lot more to the Democrats. Blacks will have her back." It seems to be almost a shot at white people in New Hampshire from a top Clinton aide, basically saying that's all they got. But it does indicate, and this is again a tweet from Howard Fineman, the global editorial director at Huffington Post, tweeting this. This would go along with what we heard earlier tonight about the Clinton campaign now deciding that the way to come back after Bernie Sanders beat her so badly in New Hampshire is to focus on race. This is now going to get interesting, and indeed, let's see if the black population has her back. That is according to a top Clinton aide. It is only going to be more interesting. Interesting now for the man who won in Iowa, beat Donald Trump, now finishes third tonight in New Hampshire with 12% of the vote. Ted Cruz is now a man who has had a little bit of the luster taken off after losing in Iowa now. But he's heading for a big evangelical state in South Carolina, where he hopes to get his mojo back. Here was Ted Cruz tonight.
What an incredible evening. We made history tonight. You, the good people of New Hampshire, and our volunteers from all across this nation, have made history tonight. Our state chairman, Speaker Bill O'Brien, Senator Bob Smith, Executive Counselor Dave Wheeler, and our state director, Ethan Zorfas. The votes are still being counted, and the exact results are unknown. But right now it appears that we are effectively tied for third in the state of New Hampshire. That was the result that all of us were told was impossible. Together, we have done what the pundits and the media said could not be done. And what the Washington establishment desperately hoped would not be done. One week ago, all of the media predicted we would lose the state of Iowa. I had opposed the ethanol mandate taking on Washington and corporate welfare. My opponents attacked me, promising even more cronyism, and lobbyists spent millions of dollars in attack ads against our campaign. And yet the people of Iowa put their country first, they put their children first. And then this week, history repeated itself. Once again, the talking heads and the Washington insiders were confident that our wave of support would break against the rock of the Granite State. That a conservative, we were told, could not do well in the state of New Hampshire. We were told that over and over again, and tonight the men and women here and all across this great state proved them wrong. congratulate Donald Trump on an impressive win tonight. And John Kasich had a good night tonight. But the real winner is the conservative grassroots. Who propelled us to an outright victory in Iowa and to a far stronger result and outcome in New Hampshire than anyone had predicted. Now we go on to South Carolina. The Palmetto State. And you know, Washington liberals may find South Carolina far less hospitable environs. And on to Nevada and Super Tuesday, the so-called SEC primary. And the voters will have a choice. Do we want a campaign conservative, someone who talks a good game but hasn't walked the walk? Or do we want a consistent conservative with a proven record? In Iowa and New Hampshire and all across the nation, we're seeing the old Reagan coalition coming together. Conservatives and evangelicals and libertarians, young people and Reagan Democrats. Especially Reagan Democrats, the blue-collar, working-class voters who the Democratic Party has abandoned. If Republicans are going to win in November 2016, and we have to win for the sake of our kids and our grandkids, if we're going to win, we have to welcome home the Reagan Democrats. And to do so, we must stand unequivocally against amnesty. We cannot win by nominating a candidate with the same policy on amnesty as Hillary Clinton. We need to be unequivocally against Obamacare. We cannot win by nominating a candidate with the same policy on Obamacare as Bernie Sanders. And for Pete's sake, we don't need more needles. We don't need more capitulation and surrender to Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama.
We do need his one final check of the numbers telling us that Donald Trump, 35%, John Kasich, 16%, Ted Cruz, 12%, and Hillary Clinton trounced by Bernie Sanders. Look, this is not necessarily a sprint, it's a marathon, and the people here at Newsmax have done a marathon today. So I want to make sure to point out our director, Greg Kenny, the entire control room crew. They have been here since 7 o'clock this morning. They have put in yeoman-like work, every single one of them, and busting their butts to put this all together. My staff at the hard line, my producer, David Orth, Tricia Shervin, Chris Villalba, Steve and Justin here on the floor, the editors, the production staff. They have worked hard and long today since 7 this morning to bring this all here. I want to thank them because without them, I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, you have my thanks, as do you. I'm Ed Berliner. See you on the Hard Line tomorrow night, 6, right here on Newsmax.